Hey, this is Benjamin Boyce, and I needed to do a follow-up about my previous Evergreen video where I'm just going to kind of read you guys this follow-up article, which gets a little bit more into why at least one of the candidates for the president backed out. So see the previous video and let's dive in. And again, this is by Rolf Boone. Decision to withdraw was not about Evergreen, but about where I am today, finalist says. One of the three finalists to be the next president of the Evergreen State College in Olympia said Friday his decision to withdraw was not about the college. The finalists were Lee Lambert, Catherine Kodat, and Michael Dumont, and all three withdrew from consideration shortly after meeting with faculty, students, staff, and alumni, the Board of Trustees announced Wednesday. The Olympian was unable to reach Kodat and Dumont, but Lambert, who attended and worked at Evergreen and is now chancellor for Pima Community College in Tucson, Arizona, said Friday his decision to withdraw was less about Evergreen and more about where he is today at the community college. He asked himself, "Do I want to leave the work I am leading here?" He decided the answer was no, unsure if he wanted to take on a new challenge at Evergreen. He said the college's search process was well run and professional, and that his interactions with faculty and students were respectful. Quote, "It's more about what's going on here," he said about his current role. Lambert acknowledged that if he had been named president, some remodeling would have to take place at Evergreen. Lambert said he loves Evergreen and that the college was a leader in the 20th century, but now it's time for it to come into the 21st century. It's interesting. I've been seeing a lot of chatter amongst faculty and staff and this whole story about bringing Evergreen into the 21st century. We are 1/5 the way through the 21st century. Just let everybody know that. If you're not online, you don't exist, he said. We are doing that here, he said in reference to Pima. Evergreen is not even there. He pointed out the college adapted to the pandemic with online learning, and now it needs to continue. As for all three finalists withdrawing at the same time, Lambert said he, too, was shocked by the news. "I am hopeful someone will emerge to lead the college," he said. Also on Friday, the Board of Trustees voted to approve a process to find an interim president, and the work begins right away, Board Chairwoman Karen Frazier said. She was granted the authority or her designee to identify candidates, followed by evaluations and interviews. Right now, the board is set to meet again on Monday and Wednesday. Anybody who submitted a resume is in the pool, she said, adding that the college received 60-some applications during the presidential search process. Now, I have one of the breakdowns of all of the different applications that they received, and they divide it according to BIPOC and other. So Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and then other. Like, what does other mean? It's not just mean white. Are they not? They're trying not to say white there all of a sudden? I don't understand. To continue, others might be considered as well. Trustee Melinda Bratcht Hosager suggested the board look at former college presidents who do interim work. Although current college president George Bridges, who plans to return to teaching, I guess so, is preparing to leave at the end of June, there's still no hard date for the interim hire because of the time needed for interviews and negotiations, Frazier said. "We want to move expeditiously," she said. During the meeting, trustees Bratch Hosager and Ed Zuckerman shared some thoughts on the presidential search process. That's kind of interesting. Bratch Hosager said that the candidates saw plenty of positives about Evergreen, but not enough about the challenges facing the college. She said those challenges are not necessarily financial or about enrollment, but are cultural. This is very ambiguous here. So this chairwoman said that the candidates saw plenty of positives about Evergreen, but not enough about the challenges facing the college. She said those challenges are not necessarily financial or about enrollment, but are cultural. So the presidential candidates didn't see the cultural challenges at the Evergreen State College? Or did they see it and didn't like what they see? Or did those challenges, those cultural challenges, come to light and the Board of Trustees is now forced, finally, to deal with them, or at least to speak about them. And this is the interesting bit. To continue, Evergreen's cultural challenges have decimated the college over the last 20 years and remain toxic, she said. That is an incredibly powerful statement, or at least a very straightforward statement. The first straightforward statement that I've heard of the Board of Trustees about this issue that I've been pointing out for 4 years now, and that has been absolutely manifest to the entire world for 4 years now, and was manifest within the college before then. And now they're going to speak about it. Why is this a change of heart? Why is she opening the books now on this toxic culture at Evergreen that has been decimating the college for the last 20 years? To continue, Zuckerman said the finalists did not see a unified Evergreen. Quote, I think we've learned there are very distinct, divergent, and sometimes sharp differences of opinion about how this college needs to move forward, he said, adding that the interim hire needs to bring those thoughts together into one Evergreen. Zuckerman said that if the college isn't unified, it will be very hard to make that permanent presidential hire. At the top of the meeting, as if to placate concerns about Evergreen's future, Chairwoman Fraser reminded the board and those attending the virtual meeting about the school's strengths. She praised the undergraduate programs and the graduate programs in teaching, environmental science, and public administration. Evergreen is a special resource, she said. So, brief update. I think it's pretty interesting that things might be coming to a head here finally. I will keep my ear to the ground and try to exhume as much resources from the college as possible to display to the world exactly what's going on inside of this state-run, or at least state-funded institution, which is basically paid for by us. This is Benjamin Boyce. Stay tuned to a wonderful interview coming up with Paul Rossi, and probably actually released directly after this. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Buddy?